When's your birthday?
July 7th, 1927.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
I remember President Roosevelt's speech, and he said something about this date will go down in infamy. That I do remember. Well, this was before we got in a war. I guess my parents, who were originally devoted Republicans, but they changed their vote because Roosevelt wanted us to get in and help England. About 100% of the Republicans and about 90% of the Democrats said, no, it's not our war. The ocean will protect us. And my dad said, they're stupid, that their head's in the sand. Do you want Hitler to have the whole of Europe? Is that what you want? No, it's not our... Well, anyhow, that was my background. And whenever Churchill was on the radio, whatever we were doing, we stopped and listened.
We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
During World War II, there was a scarcity of farm labor. So if your parents agreed to it and the teachers agreed to it, you could get time off to work on a farm. Well, so I thought that was great. My parents would say, are you sure you can keep up with the schoolwork? Oh yeah, no problem. So anyhow, basically I had practically all of September off to work in apple orchards, which was where my dad was working, in addition to his mail carrier. 16, I was the youngest, but also the tallest kid in my class. Castleton, New York,
Okay.
about 10 miles south of Albany. As soon as I became 17, I enlisted in the Navy. Well, then I took this test, they call it Eddie test. It wasn't much of a test, I didn't think, but anyhow, mostly algebra and maybe a few vocabulary, but the algebra and geometry. Anyhow, passed this, so that meant after boot camp, I could be a seaman first class, which is just one notch above the lowest.
Where did you go to boot camp?
Someplace near Milwaukee.
Okay.
I think it was called Great Lakes Training School. But it was during that time that the nuclear bombs were dropped in Japan. Well, I was in this school, and they couldn't wait to get rid of everybody, you know. They didn't know what to do with me. So I got sent to, believe it or not, Naval Air Station in the middle of the country, St. Louis. It seems weird, but my only contact with airplanes was loading them and unloading them. Newspaper said this was equivalent to how many? They said such and such tons of TNT, and I thought, oh my gosh, what an exaggeration. They expect us to believe that stuff? You know, I never heard of a nuclear bomb. That was my reaction. And I don't think, I had no idea what a destruction it was. Well, I thought, well, that's not going to end it. I'm going to get sent to the Pacific. So I was getting all revved up to go to the Pacific. And instead I went to St. Louis. I'd signed up for 4 years, but I think I was only in about 2 years, I think. Our swimming test, we took us to a big indoor pool of water and just threw us in the water. Well, if you stayed afloat and all, you could swim. Well, I couldn't swim very well, but at least enough to swim around. I thought, my gosh, what about people that can't? I never found out. I thought it was pretty funny, though. The other one was you have to stand up for all these shots, you know. One guy, when he saw that blood, he must have taken some blood from him or something. He just fainted. He just fainted. So, why did it take the people, the Americans, to realize there's a dangerous war going on? Why did it have to be the Japanese bombed them? And I got thinking, if the Japanese haven't bombed them, would we let Hitler and Stalin take over the rest of the world? Would we have done that? That was my recollection. Thank goodness the Japanese bombed us and woke us up.
Right.
But anyhow, I guess I was an Anglophile.